Okay. Good afternoon, students. We are discussing unit 3, friction. From the friction topic, last class we discussed about ladder friction, screw friction, belt friction, rolling resistance. So today we are going to solve some problems from the screw friction, belt friction. Okay. Before that, I am going to explain what we discussed last class. We started screw friction. The screw is having thread. You see that these diagrams, you will know how where you are using this screw jack. Okay. Frequently, we have seen this type of screw jack for lifting the weight. Okay. The mechanics of some other places for lifting weight. The weight is downward, but by using the screw jack and the lower lever, we are rotating either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So based on the direction, the weight is maybe lifted or lowered. So this is called a screw jack. Okay. The screw jack means this is the thread is available. Thread may be a V thread or square thread. Okay. The screws, bolts, nuts, studs, etc. are widely used in various machines and structures for fastenings. These fastenings have screw threads, which are made by cutting a continuous helical groove on a cylindrical surface. If the threads are cut on the outer surface of the solid rod, these known as external threads. You can see um, a screw we are fixing any um, uh, any photo or something we are fixing on the wall, no? So we are using screw. That is called external threads. But if the threads are cut on the internal surface, but if the threads are cut on internal surface of a hollow rod, these are known as internal threads. Okay. So screw threads are mainly of two types: V threads and square threads. The V threads are stronger and offer more friction resistance to motion than square threads. Moreover, the V threads have an advantage of preventing the nut from this. So generally we are using for the screw jack V threads because V threads give stronger and more friction resistance. Okay. It will be interesting to know that the V threads are used for purpose of tightening pieces together. Example, bolts and nuts. You see the bolt and nut, there is a thread is there. The thread generally V threads. Threads are helical in shape. So these are some nomenclature: helix, pitch, lead, depth of thread, single threaded screw, multi-threaded screw. The slope of thread, no, thread is generally inclined, no. So how do you calculate slope? Tan alpha equal to P divided by pi d. P means here pitch, small p, pitch. Pi d. Here d means mean diameter of the screw. Mean diameter of the screw. Alpha means helix angle. So tan alpha equal to P divided by pi d. For single threaded screw, tan alpha equal to NP divided by pi d, multi-threaded screw. N means number of threads. So alpha equal to angle of inclination of the thread or helix angle. P equal to pitch of the screw. Mean diameter of the screw D. Now see this diagram. You can see the thread is inclined, no, somewhat helix angle less than maybe 20 degree only. Okay, that's why the friction resistance more. So weight is generally acting vertical downward. So we can lift the load or lower the load. When lifting, this is the applied effort. See here we are saying not force, we are applying effort. Applied effort P equal to capital W tan into alpha plus pi. P means applied effort for lifting the load. W weight. Alpha equal to helix angle. Pi equal to friction angle. Understand? Angle of friction. Pi equal to angle of friction. See the derivation is not no need now. So you can memorize the formula P equal to W tan into alpha plus pi. Okay. So how do you calculate alpha? Tan alpha equal to opposite divided by adjacent sine, no? So tan alpha equal to P divided by pi d. This is lower the screw jack. For lowering the screw jack, this is the formula. Applied effort. P equal to applied effort equal to W into tan pi minus alpha. So these are the two formulas. For weight is the relation between effort and weight lifted by the screw jack. P equal to W in tan alpha plus pi. Relation between effort and weight lowered by the screw jack. P equal to W tan pi minus alpha. Suppose the pi is greater than alpha, you can use the first formula. Suppose alpha is greater than pi, you can use P equal to W tan alpha minus pi. So here P equal to effort applied at the mean radius of the screw jack. Effort applied at the mean radius of the screw jack to lift the load. Capital W, weight of the body to be lifted or lowered. Me equal to coefficient of friction. Me equal to coefficient of friction between screw and nut. Pi equal to angle of friction. Okay, pi equal to angle of friction. We know equal tan pi equal to mu. Tan pi equal to mu. We discuss in the first when starting friction, no? That is pi equal to angle of friction. Tan pi equal to F divided by R, no? What is F divided by R? Mu. So mu equal to tan pi. So here P is the effort applied at the mean radius. Now effort is applied at the end of the lever. Therefore, you have to use these relations. P into R equal to P1 into L. P equal to low effort applied at the mean radius of the screw jack, screw or thread. R equal to radius of the mean radius of the screw jack. P1 is the effort applied at the end of the lever. Okay, P1 into L. L means length of the lever or handle. See, this is the diagram. You can understand. So we can apply load at here itself at mean radius. So we can apply at mean radius. We can say P. When apply at the end of the lever, you can say P1. We have P formula. P formula equal to this is a P formula. W into tan alpha plus pi. For lift. For lowering, P equal to W into tan pi minus alpha. Then another formula P equal to W tan alpha minus pi. Pi lowered. Suppose you want P1, you have to use this relation. P into R equal to P1 into L. Okay. So you have to know all the notations. A small r equal to mean radius of the screw jack. L equal to length of the handle or length of the lever. P1 effort required at the end of the handle. Okay. Pi equal to angle of friction. Angle of friction equal to tan pi equal to mu. Mu equal to coefficient of friction. Capital W equal to weight of the body to be lifted. Okay. Then the alpha equal to helix angle. Students, alpha equal to here helix angle. Helix angle tan alpha equal to P minus pi d. P equal to pitch of the screw. T equal to mean radius of the mean diameter of the screw. And we started about belt friction. What is a belt friction? The friction developed between belt and drum. When belt is rotated, no, so the bottom side always tight side. T1 tight side or maximum tension. T2 slack side tension. T2 slack tension or minimum tension. See, whenever you say belt, sir, best example. I am giving the example for belt friction. The olden days we are using well, no, WELL well. They for lifting water. We are using some bucket, no. Still some villages are in some places we are using, no, the black color tire rope, no, tire rope connected bucket. What at one end, other end we are using our hand. So we are lifting water from the well. Yes, there is one roller is always middle of the well. We are lifting water. Just imagine the bucket is one end. Our hand we are pulling, no, when water is getting when pulling. Okay, our pulling side tension is more. Understand? But the weight of the bucket is acting vertical downwards. The weight is compare your tension. The weight is lower. Understand? We are lifting water, no. Okay. Therefore, the T1 is the maximum tension. T2 is the minimum tension. And the theta means angle of contact between belt and drum. So beta. Beta or here, beta we are using. Beta equal to angle of contact. Okay. Therefore, the relation equal to T1 divided by T2 equal to E power mu S into beta. Okay. Mu S equal to coefficient of static friction. Students, mu S equal to coefficient of static friction. Beta equal to angle of contact. Beta equal to angle of contact between belt and drum. So here the theta you have to apply in terms of radian. 1 radian equal to pi by 180. You know, 1 radian equal to pi by 180. Suppose angle given 60 degree, angle of contact 60 degree. So you have to convert radian. How do you convert radian? Pi by 180 into 60. 60 numerator. Understand, students? 60 numerator. Pi by 180 into 60 degree. Okay. Then we discussed about rolling resistance. Or so rolling is other names, rolling friction or rolling drag is the force resisting the motion when the body, such as a ball, tire, or wheel, rolls on a surface. Okay, see the tire and the contact tire, bus tire, a two-wheeler tire, no. You see, just imagine if the friction not available, no. Just imagine you are driving a bike on the road. Suppose there is no friction, what will happen? Students, tell me. If there is no friction between tire and the road, what will happen? Class representative.
So we can drive.
What will happen?
The tire won't roll, so we can't.
Then you can, the tire is getting slippage, not rolling. So we want some amount of friction, not high amount of friction. Understand? The friction having both advantage and disadvantage also. We have some amount of friction must be there. That's only the car bike, the balance running will happen. Okay. There is no more friction, there is no less friction. Suppose we are standing on the floor. If you are standing means definitely the friction between our foot, that is chappal or floor. Otherwise, definitely we can't stand. We can fall down or slip down. You can see that from the childhood onwards, you are hearing one story, no? Banana leaf, no? Banana, no, banana skin. The one old man or young man is sleeping. Why? Because there is no friction. Weakness? Have you heard the story? Kavi? Kavi?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard the banana skin story?
Which is a joke.
Hmm. Okay. So we need some amount of friction, but when the rolling, no, the tire is rolling here. See here, see the here. So we want rolling, so definitely we need some force, no? Then only it can roll. So friction resistance is opposite direction. See this diagram, the tire is contact on the surface. So definitely some portion of the tire or the contact surface, submit, it goes to some, there is a small amount of deformation, okay, due to friction. So the tire is contact, no, therefore whenever contact there is a reaction will be there. So here all the sides reaction, students, all the sides, but it goes to the rotating clockwise, no, so the more reaction at the right side, okay. Therefore I calculate the resultant reaction NR, vertical upward reaction. Rn means reaction. The F is acting opposite direction because F is friction, no, the wheel is that right side, for friction is left side. P is the applied force. You know, where generally weight of the tire is acting vertical downward. Weight of the tire is acting vertical downward. So with respect to the weight, the at where the friction is acted, no, the result, there is a maximum reaction. The distance is B. Okay. Now I am taking moment with respect B. With respect B equal to I am taking moment. Therefore W into B equal to P into R. Therefore B equal to P into R divided by W. So the P equal to applied force. R equal to radius of the wheel. W equal to weight on the roller or tire. Weight on the roller or tire. Roller on tire. P equal to coefficient of rolling resistance. Students, B equal to coefficient of rolling resistance. Just imagine, suppose B is increases. The coefficient of rolling resistance increases. What will happen? That is, the tire is not moving because they increase the coefficient of rolling resistance, they increase the friction. When increase the friction, definitely we need more force or the tire won't run or rolling. So this is a rolling resistance formula. What formula? W into P, B equal to P into R. W means weight on the roller or tire. B equal to coefficient of rolling resistance. Small r equal to radius of the wheel. P equal to applied force. So we discussed this rolling resistance. Then we discussed about a belt. That is a T1 divided by T2 equal to E power S into beta. Beta equal to angle of contact between belt and drum. In terms of radian, 1 radian equal to pi by 180. Then we discuss screw jack. So now we are going to discuss the screw jack problems. Class rep, can you read the question? Class rep.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
A screw jack has mean diameter of 50 millimeter and pitch 10 millimeter. If the coefficient of friction between its screw and nut is 0.15, find the effort required at the end of 700 millimeter long handle to raise a load of 10 kilonewton.
Again read the question.
A screw jack has mean diameter of 50 millimeter and pitch 10 millimeter. If the coefficient of friction between its screw and nut is 0.15, find the effort required at the end of 700 millimeter long handle to raise a load of 10 kilonewton.
So the first given data, mean diameter of given, mean diameter screw jack. So small d equal to 50 mm. Okay. Then pitch 10 mm. Therefore it takes small p. Student, small p pitch 10 mm. Then coefficient of friction between screw and the nut. Coefficient of friction between screw and the nut. That is mu equal to 0.15. But already we know what is mu equal to 10 pi. 10 pi equal to mu. Therefore pi equal to 10 units of mu. Pi equal to 10 units of mu. So mu value given 0.15. Therefore angle 8.5. Next length of the candle. Length of the candle how much? 700 mm. Load to be raised 10 kilonewton. Okay. Now they ask to find the force which required at the end of 700 mm long lever to raise the load of 10 kN. So they asked a force which is required at the end of 700 mm long lever. So here load is applied on the lever. So we have two formula, no? The force is applied at the mean radius and the force is applied at the end of lever. Therefore, so we have formula, no? This is lifting or lowering. Raise, no? Raise the load. So raise the load means lift, no? So we have formula lift. You know, effort required at mean radius. So lift the load, raise the load. Then we have formula P equal to capital W tan alpha plus pi. So pi we already calculated. Pi equal to 8.5. How do you calculate 8.5? We know pi equal to mu equal to tan pi. Therefore pi equal to tan inverse of mu. So 8.5. So pi equal to 8.5. We want alpha. Helix angle. What is the helix angle formula? Tan alpha equal to P divided by pi d. P means here small p, pitch. Okay. So pi d. What is a d? Diameter, no? Diameter equal to 2 times radius, no? That's why changed it. P divided by 2 pi r. So P value given. What is the P value? Pitch. See here, pitch. 10 mm divided by 10 mm divided by pi d. Pi into d, diameter, mean radius 50 mm. Okay. Therefore, 10 alpha equal to 0.0637. Then alpha equal to tan inverse, no? 3.6. Now we have lifted the load. So lower, raise the load, no? Raise the load formula. What is the formula? P equal to W tan alpha plus pi. W how much? 10 kilonewton. The given question. W equal to the load with 10 kilonewton. So 10 into 10. What is alpha value? 3.6 degree. Okay. Then what is the pi value? 8.5 degree. So 3.6. Alpha equal to 3.6. Pi equal to 10.5. So you have to apply W equal to 10 kilonewton. No, 10 into that 3.6 plus 8.5. 12.1 degree. So applying the values, the final answer, the effort required at the mean radius. See red color. Students, see the red color. The effort applied at the mean radius of screw. P equal to W tan 12.1 degree. Therefore, the final answer 2.144 kilonewton. Now, the effort required at the end of the handle. Students, the effort required at the end of the handle. We have relations. P1 into L equal to P into R. So we want P1, no? So L length of the lever, handle, no? The given length of the handle 700 mm. P equal already calculated 2.144. P equal to 2.144. R equal to radius, no? 25. Therefore, the final answer, applied effort at the end of the lever 76.6 Newton. Students understand? Very simple, no? What we followed, they given everything, mean, radius, diameter, the radius calculated. Pitch given, pitch equal small p, 10 mm. See, mu will given, students, mu equal to 0.15. So already we have formula, no? Tan pi equal to mu. So pi equal to tan inverse of mu, 0.15, 8.5 degree. Okay, angle of friction. Length of the handle given, 700 mm. How much load to be raised, lifted? 10 kilonewton. Therefore, we have formula. First, write the formula. See here, we are applying load at the mean radius and the end of the lever. So first apply end load applied at mean radius of screw. So we have formula P equal to W tan alpha plus pi. So pi calculated. How do you calculate pi? Tan pi, that is mu equal to tan pi. Therefore pi equal to tan inverse of mu. Then alpha equal to helix angle. No, helix angle formula pitch divided by pi d. Therefore alpha we got it 3.6. So we got P equal to 2.144 kilonewton at mean radius. We are applying load at mean radius. Now we have effort required at the end of the handle. So end of the handle, you have to use the formula P1 into L equal to P into R. Therefore, P1 into 700 equal to P into R. The P equal to 2.144 into 25. Therefore, final answer equal to 76.6 Newton. Kavi, can you read the question? Kavi?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
A screw jack has a square thread of 75 mm, mean diameter and a pitch of 15 mm. Find the force which is required at the end of 500 mm long lever to lower a load of 25 kilonewton. Take coefficient of friction between the screw and thread as 0.05.
Again read the question. Again read the question.
A screw jack has out.
Read it.
A screw jack has a square thread of 75 mm, mean diameter and a pitch of 15 mm. Find the force which is required at the end of 500 mm long lever to lower of the load 25 kilonewton. Take coefficient of friction between the screw and thread of 0.05.
Okay. So here lower, students lower the load. The previous lift the load, no, raise the load. So what they given mean diameter. Mean diameter how much? Small equal to 75 mm. What is the radius? Diameter divided by 2. Radius no. Therefore 75 divided by 2. 37.5 mm. And the pitch value is given. Pitch is equal to 15 mm. Pitch equal to 15 mm. Now what is the that is applied force? P equal to mean radius and at the end of the lever. So length of the lever given 500 mm. Load to be lower, W 25 kilonewton. So we have in the mu value is given 0.05. Therefore tan pi equal to mu, no? Tan pi equal to mu. Therefore pi equal to 10 units of 0.05. So pi value calculated. So we have first write the formula, lower the load. See here, lower the load. Effort required at the mean radius of the screw to lower the load. What is lower load? The formula P equal to W tan alpha minus pi. So first to calculate alpha. How do you calculate alpha? Tan alpha equal to pitch divided by pi d. What is the pitch value? 15. Pi into d. So if diameter we can write it 2r, no? Okay. So 75. Diameter 75, no? Therefore tan alpha equal to 0.0637. Therefore alpha equal to the answer 3.6. So alpha calculated. Then pi already calculated. You know tan pi equal to mu, no? Therefore mu equal to that is pi equal to 10 of mu. So pi 2.9. So here you have to apply all the values. Weight given now, weight 25 kilonewton. Students here 25 kilonewton. This answer 10.07, 0.0122, no? So you have to multiply in terms of kilonewton given 0.305 kilonewton. Then convert into Newton. How do you convert it Newton? 1 kilometer equal to 1000 Newton, no? So I converted 1 kilometer into 1000 Newton. So 0.305 into 1000 Newton, 305 Newton. Okay. Now we want to load is applied at the end of the lever. End of the lever, how do you calculate it? P1 into L equal to P into R. P equal to 305. R equal to radius, no? 37.5. Length of the lever, L equal to length of the lever. Therefore, phi1 equal to 23 Newton. P1 equal to 23 Newton. Okay. So here we discussed two problems based on the screw jack. One is lift the load, another is lower the load. Okay. Students, any question? Students, any question, doubt? Students?
No,
Class
sir.
ref? Very direct application, no? First you calculate alpha and theta, alpha and pi. How do you calculate pi? You know, mu equal to 10 pi. So pi equal to 10 inverse of mu. Similarly, you have to calculate alpha. What is alpha equal to? P divided by pi d. P equal to pitch value. Students, small p equal to pitch value. Pitch divided by 15 divided by pi d. Pi into 75. Therefore, alpha 3.6. Okay. So the two problems enough for screw jack. Now I am sharing YouTube problem, one YouTube problem. So you can just watch it. Okay. So the same part is not required to made in the another side by Here in this video, I'm going to explain a problem on friction. So let's start. Now here is the question given. It is said, for a block connected as shown in figure, the diagram is given over here. We have to determine whether the block moves. Here this block is moving or not. If mu is equal to 0.7, so that is the angle of contact, or we can say that is the coefficient of friction between the surface over which the block is kept. So we have to find whether the block is moving or not, and mu is given to us, which is 0.7 for this rough horizontal plane. Then the next part is we have to find the coefficient of friction mu. So that is the second part of the question. If the block A is just on the point of moving, so these are the two parts of the question. As per the diagram, we can clearly see that here this block is connected with the help of a string or a rope to a weight attached at block B. The value of the weight is 200 Newton and 500 Newton is the weight of the block. So this diagram I'm going to simplify in the solution. So let's start with the solution part for case number 1. Case number 1 is we have to find out that if the block moves. So that's the question. For that I'm going to draw the diagram again. Weight of the block is 500 Newton, so acting downward. Opposite to this weight on the same line of action will be the normal reaction offered by the floor on which the block is kept. At the same time, they had given 200 Newton weight. That 200 Newton block is inclined at an angle, as we see at 60, an angle of 60 degree. It means this 200 Newton pull is acting at an angle of 60 degree. Now since this 200 Newton force is inclined, so it will have two components, one which is horizontal, other which is vertical. Angle is measured with respect to the horizontal, so this horizontal component would be 200 cos 60 and the vertical component will be 200 sin 60. Then as we can see here that 200 cos 60 will try to pull the block towards the right. It means motion is towards the right side. So opposite to motion would be the friction force, as always, opposite to motion. So the friction force is given by mu into Rn. Now the condition is if the block moves or not, that we have to find out. So how to decide it? We have to compare the force which is causing the motion. So W, Rn, they are not causing the motion. W is acting downward, Rn is acting upward. So they are just keeping the block in contact with the floor. Whereas 200 sin 60 will try to lift the block, but the motion is there in this horizontal plane. So 200 cos 60 will try to slide the block. So only the resisting force to 200 cos 60 is the friction force. So whether the block is going to move or not, we have to compare these two forces. That is the friction force and the value of 200 cos 60, which is causing the motion. If for an example 200 cos 60 is greater than the friction force, it means the block is going to slide towards right side. But if the value is less than the friction force, then the body will remain stable. So here I can say that I am going to use the conditions of equilibrium. So the first condition is summation of fx equal to 0, where rightward forces are taken as positive, leftward forces are treated as negative. So therefore, I'm going to find the value of 200 cos 60. So the force which is causing the motion, this 200 cos 60, I'm going to denote it by P, which is the applied effort causing the motion. So therefore, I can say that P, force P is equal to 200 cos 60 and the value is, it is 100 Newton.
Now I need to compare this with the friction force, and in the friction force mu is known to us, only Rn is to be calculated. For that, using the second equilibrium condition, which is summation of Fy equal to 0, upward forces positive and downward forces negative. So therefore Rn is acting upward, positive, 200 sine 60 acting upward, 500 Newton, that is weight, acting downward, so minus. Next, 500 minus 500 goes on to the other side, it becomes positive. 200 sine 60, the value is 173.21, goes on to the other side, it becomes negative. So therefore Rn value is 326.79 Newton. Then now I'm going to find the friction force. So therefore the friction force F is equal to mu Rn. Mu is given as 0.7. Rn value is 326.79. So therefore the friction force comes out to be 228.76 Newton. So now I can compare the friction force with the effort P, and I can say that since the friction force is greater than the effort P, because effort P is 100 Newton, friction force is 228.76. Therefore, the block, which is block A, will not slide, or it will not move. So that's the first answer. That is due to the application of force as well, the block will not move because the friction force is higher. Then I'm going to use the second case in which we have to find the coefficient of friction. It is calculation of mu, and for that I'm going to use the same diagram and using the same conditions. So therefore, considering the block under limiting equilibrium, summation of Fx equal to 0, the rightward force is positive and leftward force is negative. So therefore we have 200 cos 60 as positive minus F, which is mu Rn, is equal to 0. So therefore minus mu Rn goes on to the other side, it becomes positive, and the value of 200 cos 60 is, it is 100. So therefore mu will be 100 divided by Rn. Now that would be the first equation in case number second. Then to get the value of Rn, Rn will be having the same value in like in case number 1, because weight and 200 sine 60 are same, so it is 326.79. So I can put the value over here. So therefore, because all the conditions are same here, hence mu value will come out to be, it is 0.3. So that's the second answer, and case number second gets completed. So as we see the problem, the first condition was if the block moves, so we have come to the conclusion that the block will not move, and in the second case we have found the coefficient of friction, and with that the problem gets completed.
Students, are you understand the problem? Students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.